Hi guys, welcome to another podcast on the JV
Hey!
and Millie channel, and we are so excited today to be welcoming a very, very special guest. We have with us Ariel Knight or Neil Jones.
Hey, how are you all? I'm sorry. Hey, how are you all doing today?
We are good. Again, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast today. We are particularly excited to have you here following the Indie Games Direct, and when we got to see the advertisement for that amazing game Ariel Knight's Never Yield. We have been playing that quite a lot recently. We've installed the demo, which we would certainly recommend to everybody, and it's just this amazing semi-futuristic Detroit based runner game, and we would just love it if you could tell us a little bit more about, your interpretation of the game for anybody who missed the Indie Direct.
Oh, of course. Like you said, my name is Neil. I go by Ariel Knight online, and I'm the creator and developer of Ariel Knight's Never Yield. It's what I like to call a narrative runner, meaning it's not an endless runner. It's a narrative runner in the sense that it has a story, cutscenes, and it has those classic gameplay mechanics from the genre, but with a few tweaks and a lot of style added. You play as a character named Wally, and you explore this world, being chased by this corporation for reasons that you'll find out in the story. And we give players a lot of options in how they like to play, or how they would wish to play the game, with a lot of updated features in the genre that normally wasn't there in the past.
It is definitely so interesting, and like we said, we've been enjoying that demo so much, especially with how stylized everything is. So instantly I'm thinking it almost reminds me of a comic book aesthetic almost, and it's just the platforming, I guess if you can call it that, is incredible. And I think one of the things that stood out to me as well was the soundtrack especially.
Oh, thanks so much. My friend Dan, he did all the music for the game. He's from Detroit like me, and he pretty much did the music for all my game projects over the years. So I was really happy that he was able to hop on this project and contribute a lot to the music. It took us a while to get to that sound, that style that we currently have in the game, but I think it fits really well.
It really does, and I feel like it's one of the games that you really benefit from having the soundtrack on, because as you were saying, it's not just a typical runner game. It has quite a complex story to it, or at least that's the vibe I'm getting from the demo, to the point where just having that soundtrack, it matches that feeling of adrenaline as you're running away, and it all combines together really nicely. One thing that I'm so curious about for this game is where you sought your inspiration from, maybe the types of games you like to play, or what inspired you for the character of Wally as well, because they're amazing too.
Oh, thank you. I took inspiration from a lot of things, a lot of 90s anime and cartoons and things of that nature. But as far as the aesthetic of the game, it's just my natural art style. That's kind of the art style I always kind of gravitate towards when I do my own kind of projects. But a lot of inspiration from No More Heroes and cell shaded classic games. But as far as the character itself, it was inspired by my uncle. It was inspired by Axel Foley or Eddie Murphy, and just classic black figures of the past.
Yeah, see, that's another thing that really shone across to us in that, I guess it wasn't really implicitly said, but you very much implied in the indie world that you were excited to find a place in the gaming industry that previously didn't find a place for you. And I just thought that was so inspiring, because that was quite a long, direct, I think it's fair to say. But, obviously there's a reason why we reached out to you, and that's because whilst all the other games did look fantastic, in this particular case, you very much were the face of it. You were there talking about it like a passion project. Had
the most heart behind
it was so just inspiring, like humanizing to see that this amazing game that we can see is made by like a real person. If that's fair to say, like it was just really amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the disconnect in a lot of online talk these days, is that we don't really see the creators and the people behind these games. It's always just like a corporation or like some giant company, and that's why people go so hard, with their critiques sometimes. But I put my name on this game because it's mine. I did everything you could think of on this game, from the marketing. I cut all the trailers. I recorded that video for Indie World. I did. I mean, you name it. I did it for this game. So I wanted people to kind of really know that this was just pretty much a guy who made a game, and I want people to kind of like see me and understand that there's people out there like me who deserve to be in the game industry, but don't necessarily always get the opportunities for multiple reasons.
Yeah, see, I totally get that, and again, with the fact that you've included your name in it, I think it very much encourages repeat customers. Like, I know that we personally can't wait to get the full version when it comes out because we enjoyed the demo so much, but beyond that as well, the fact that it is Aerial Knights Never Yield, it almost is going to develop to carry such a weight to it that in your next project, even if it's called something completely different, it's not in the same series, that inclusion of Aerial Knights before it, I can see that almost becoming like a seal of approval or a seal of quality, and I think that that's just amazing.
Yeah, that's the hope, that if people like this game, the game's success now just depends on people talking about it, people going out and buying it, or at least taking a demo and just sharing it with their friends. I appreciate all of the support so far. It's been really amazing to see so many people just enjoy the game and tell me how much it means to them and such. But yeah, that's the hope, that people kind of take the name and kind of like follow me on my journey to make other games and kind of see where this all goes.
Well, we're certainly hoping to, follow that and be part of the journey. I mean, one thing that I think, as you've mentioned there is the demo for this game. And I think that says something really important, in that a lot of, games don't do that. And the fact that you have goes to show that you do back yourself, you believe in what it is you're putting forward. And that all just kind of adds on to the fact that, you were the very front of this game in that direct, and you really do believe in it. And just from playing that demo myself, it is definitely something worth believing in. So it's just so nice to see that, that one or two of the games on the Indie Direct did do that demo to really kind of show that they believed in themselves, and I definitely think that was well placed.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of marketing research from a few years ago pretty much shows that you shouldn't do a demo. It doesn't really help you in the end in the end stages, depending on the type of game. But with my game, I really wanted to put it all, up front. I felt that, a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with the runner genre. And I needed people to kind of to understand this kind of game, you have to play it to understand that it is a runner, but it's a little bit more than that. And it's more welcoming to people who don't necessarily play those types of games. So I really wanted to get that point across, and I thought the best way was to do a small demo. Even though the demo that actually got launched on the Switch was the wrong demo. We picked the wrong file. So I've been working on updating that demo to the most recent version of it. So if you played it when it first dropped, hopefully the newer version is a lot more responsive, and it has a lot more of the snappiness, and it feels a lot better. So the final game would really push that across. But I have the Steam demo if anybody wants to try that out and get a feel for the final product.
I must say, JB and I looked at each other in complete shock then, because honestly, we got the demo more or less, I think it's fair to say, within minutes of the direct finishing, and it was absolutely incredible. I mean, I honestly think the level selection of what you put forward, it gives some intrigue to the story. So I think for the first couple of levels you put out, it was kind of like you were running away from the drones. Then I think there was a 2-level jump, and it's almost like they're on side with you. So it almost makes you curious about the development in those couple of levels. I think the selection there was amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been really vague about the story, and I want players and just people in general to kind of piece together what's going on themselves. I think that's a really fun part of those types of games, is kind of figuring out the story for yourself. And it's generally surprising that no one's figured it out yet. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Once the full game comes out, it gives even more context with those kind of levels that you missed. But towards the end of the game, it's very interesting. I can't wait to see people play the last level.
We're really excited to play the level, and we're hoping to do that on the channel as well. I mean, we definitely, showcase the demo just because the game's so incredible. But as I was keeping the Joy-Cons away from JB throughout most of it because I just wanted to run it myself. So I'm really curious to know if you can tell me how many levels there are to look forward to once the full game launches.
13.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, so the aim was always to make a game that was more of a experience that matches the time frame of a classic action movie. So I want people to be able to beat it in one sitting, to sit down in the afternoon and be like, I want to finish a game. Let me start this game because I know I can get it done.
Yeah.
Or if it was something that people can pick up on, like a short bus ride, and maybe beat a level and feel like they completed something. I wanted to aim away from those 100-hour games or anything that was procedurally generated that kind of felt just robotic and not handcrafted. So I hand placed everything, tested everything to make sure that the replayability was there. If you play on harder levels, you get even more obstacles and even more of a challenge. So yeah, I think players will really gravitate towards that and gravitate towards the shorter time frame. That kind of just tells a consolidated story.
I can see exactly what you're saying there. I mean, like you said, there is the story to it, which makes it the type of game that you'd want to... So, for example, if you're playing this on the Switch, you would want to sit and watch it on the TV to progress with the story. But also because the Switch can convert to handheld mode, like you said, it's you can increase the level, you can increase the difficulty, and just run it a level at a time as well. So it's so transferable. It is absolutely amazing how you've managed to capture both kind of methods of playing the game and make it work for both ways. It's incredible. It really is.
Thank you. I wanted something that was really accessible to everybody. Something, that's not actually true. I wanted something that younger me would like a lot. And then if other people liked it, that would be cool too.
It's amazing. And still on that element of transferability, I think JB was watching an interview and he said that this was originally meant to be a game for the PC that developed. Is that correct?
Yeah, I made it for the PC, but it was always kind of meant to transfer to anything that I wanted it to go. So yeah, it started off as a solely PC game. But throughout development and throughout opportunities through Headup, Headup reached out and became my publisher midway through development. It gave me the opportunity to really expand my choices.
It's amazing. How did you find that transition kind of process? Did you find that the game had relatively similar controls from a PC to convert it to a different console? Was that a kind of longer process? How did you find developing that?
Well, the controls are always meant to be just super simple because I have a big problem myself with, putting down a game for too long and completely forgetting the controls. Yeah. So the controls are always meant to, up on the D-pad meant jump, down meant slide, forward means you can go faster forward, and if you pull back, do this side flip. So that was easily transferable to, any kind of device. Yeah, with simple controls like that, it was rather easy to make the transfer.
See, that is so interesting. And again, another thing that we both picked up on when we were doing a bit more research was that this isn't, your first game. You've developed titles such as Murder the Reaper and Clique. So is this kind of, the game that you're the most proud of? Or if you could, relaunch maybe an older title again after the success of Never Yield, would you hopefully do that?
But the hope is that people would share this and put enough support behind it that I can do an addition to this, be it a sequel or DLC or something like that. Because I think there's even more that I could do with this type of genre, change it even more. I had to keep it kind of light this time around, just to get something done and have a really first pass at this game. But if people like it and if it does really well, I would love to do even more with this genre to kind of make it even more different.
That is absolutely amazing. And JB was touching on some of the earlier games there. How did you actually get into the kind of game designing kind of area?
Well, I started off as more of a 3D artist, working on projects for automotive development and auto shows and things like that. Really boring stuff. But throughout the years, I noticed those jobs are starting to disappear as far as, artistic things. There's a lot of automatic programs that do what took 3 or 4 people to do. So I felt the need to expand my skill set. So I want to get into more code-based things, become more of a tech artist, and generally just kind of make my own games rather than depending on other people to kind of start those things and not just hop on their projects. So yeah, I started developing my own small little projects that I thought were really interesting. My thing has always been take giant dramatic swings. That's the only thing that people really gravitate towards on the smaller end, if you're not a AAA studio. So I just kept trying to say, take game mechanics or take ideas and say, what's the craziest thing that I can do with this type of idea?
That's amazing. That is honestly really incredible how that you're saying you develop that. And I think it's certainly interesting to hear, because I do think a lot of people think that it is a dream to be able to create a game like this, and just to hear the origins of how you kind of transform through art to be able to reach the capacity to do it is, I think, perhaps even inspirational for some other people as well.
Yeah, I think more people should just try to expand or always expand their skill set, because the better tech gets, the more tech starts taking over art. So the more artists need to expand into tech as well. It's a really complicated issue, but I think everybody just needs to expand their skill sets even more to keep up with changing times.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, and that's something that I think we were thinking about in terms of this game, in terms of maybe even expanding the horizons of even the release itself. Now, I'm not sure if this is something that you've heard of or that you've been in talks with, but what is your opinion on the possibility of having a physical release by something like Limited Run Games?
Yeah, that's another thing. It really depends on the players. Everybody from Limited Run Games to music and vinyl companies, they look at sales numbers. They look at online interactions and base their choices off of that. The game, all I can do is make the game and put it out there and make it as cool as I can make it. But we're at the point now where it's out of my hands. It's up to the players, your listeners, to kind of go out, seek it out, tweet about it, talk about it, and really get their attention.
Indeed. So for anyone listening, please remember that this game will be going onto the eStore on the 19th of May of this year. So we're excited to get that downloaded. and play it on the channel. And then, like you said, hopefully we can start, the community can all help you reach towards maybe a DLC, another game, physical releases of games. And I know that another question that we'd kind of been talking about before we spoke to you was, we'd love to know if there was any game creators that, if you'd been having, like, if the game goes really well and there's lots of success attached to it, which I don't doubt there will be, is there any game developers who you'd like to work with in particular on developing another game?
Oh wow, there's so many good game devs out there. Like I would say most or any of the other Black game developers I would love to work with. But outside of that, I would say Suda51 would be like my ideal, like, if I had one wish type of person to kind of develop a game with. People have been tweeting me, be like, "Oh, this would be a perfect character for Smash." I would love to like have that conversation of getting the character in Smash or Fortnite or anything like that.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying with the controls, if you press to the right, you run forward really quickly, so it's almost like you could run into them. If you press back, you kind of do this like jump up kick. That would be really
amazing.
Well.
Like Wally runs into the match.
It
like
could almost be that as they were making
my
certain
gosh.
moves towards you, like, you know how you can press down to slide underneath, you could almost slide under their attacks and things like
and
that.
like this ultimate smash
would
could be
work
like
so well.
summoning drones and yes.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
So yeah, certainly big things that could happen with this, because it is honestly an incredible concept, and you've created an amazing character as well. Now, a few of our listeners were quite excited that you're going to be on the podcast, and so they've sent in some questions, if you'd be happy for us to read those out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one from Instagram that is, what are some of the hardest challenges while developing a game?
Some of the hardest challenges would be getting good feedback. It's like when you're a little kid and you draw a picture and you show like your parents, and they're like, no matter how bad it is, they say, "Oh, this is amazing. I'm gonna put it on the refrigerator." And that's what it's like showing your friends a video game you've made. You can't trust them at all. You have to show it to a complete stranger, and hopefully they give you something that you can work with, some kind of feedback that you can actually work with to make your game better.
That is very insightful, and I feel like very good advice to perhaps some aspiring game developers listening to this, because I guess it is very important to kind of get that feedback.
If you don't mind me asking, I kind of want to like jump onto the back of that question, because before this, JB's done a few like projects where he was writing and that kind of thing, and like you said, it's always about finding the confidence to reach out and ask an independent person for some advice. Do you remember like the first time you did that with the first game you developed?
The first game? I can't remember actually. I think Click was the first one that we really put out there into the world, and we got a lot of negative feedback, but that was for other reasons. But I think for the current game, the best time I had getting feedback was I took the first prototype to this this convention, this really small convention, and just set it up and had little kids come over and play it, and they hated certain mechanics that I originally had in the game, and it hurt my feelings almost, but it was really good feedback, and I just took those mechanics out and never looked back. It really helped me, kind of focus the game.
That is amazing, because I think it's a universal belief that if you want an honest opinion, to always ask children. They don't ever seem to like cloud their opinions on things. Like, I babysit quite a lot for like my family, and like if the children don't like a certain type of food or anything, they are the first to give an honest opinion. So the fact that you've made some changes, and I'm sure they would now be very, very impressed with the game they'd see before them, is certainly high praise indeed, I think.
So we also have another question from Instagram, which is, what was your journey like to become an indie developer?
It was very long. I was working or trying to work in the game industry for about 8 years before I just became indie. I just decided to become indie because I couldn't find pretty much a job in the game industry. So yeah, 8 years of hustling nonstop, always trying to like watch tutorials and do the right thing, do what I was supposed to be doing, and pretty much getting nowhere. And then I just decided that I was going to do it myself.
That is awesome. So in terms of like expanding on that, in terms of, I guess, your end dream, would it be to attach yourself to a larger company with maybe some more people there developing games as a team, or would it be to continue expanding on, I guess, the Aerial Knight brand?
I don't know. I think I would love to do more content for Never Yield, but I wouldn't want that to be like my sole type of game. I have like a book full of ideas that I would love to make. So I think a little bit of a mix of both. I would like to have something like stable, but also get to make my games on the side and keep my like kind of little indie following going.
That's amazing, because I certainly think that, as you were saying, there is more that, well, I've not even played the full game yet, but I'm certain that there could be more to add on to Never Yield, or at least just to kind of look at that kind of story again with the kind of similar mechanics and things, because I do think it could adapt really well to a certain amount of stories, but also, like you said, some really interesting things that could happen in the future with some of the ideas that you've got. So I think that will be something, really incredible to hopefully follow under that same name of Aerial Knights, because I do think that, given the success that I think this game should have, I think it'll like almost be a good franchise to follow.
Yeah, and I just can't wait to unlock that full game. Like, even something that I just personally like in terms of cosmetics, like unlocking all those costumes, all the outfits, that's something that I'm also really excited for.
I think the dream now, after you all brought it up, I think the dream is now to get into Smash.
I think that would be really good. Like I said, I could see that working, because there are all the moves, instead of having lots of different mechanics, you've focused in on some really kind of nice simpler ones. It would actually be quite easy to adapt them so nicely, like we were saying. But yeah, I think that's a good dream to go for.
And that reveal trailer would just be awesome, wouldn't it? It starts off in like the Detroit, roofs, some parkour going on, and I don't know, that I just think it's going to be so
with
cool.
With that, new courses tend to come in, so you can have an entire Detroit course on Smash.
Oh, and the music as well can go in the background of that.
Yeah.
Imagine that, Mario and Wally just having a free-for-all.
I want to develop this. This is incredible.
And once you make your way through the story, there's like a lot more stuff in the game that I think will fit Smash perfectly. I can't wait for you guys to play more of it and really see where that's going.
It's going to be amazing. We're definitely going to play through it on the channel, because it's just going to be incredible. We can't wait. Admittedly,
I've only been brave enough to try it on the simple, on the easy level on the channel. I've tried to up the level a few times, but with little success after that.
See, that's one of the things. There is no easy level. What you played it on, you played it on normal, and that is perfectly fine. That's my favorite mode to play it on as well. If people want more of a challenge, then there's a hard and extreme level, or insane mode. But I intentionally didn't put in anything called easy, because I didn't want people to feel like they weren't experiencing like the vision. Normal is the vision, and the other modes are just edited versions of the vision.
Like you said, I think the normal version is really nice, because it's at a speed where you can appreciate the art style really nicely. And then, like you said, if you kind of want that adrenaline fast reaction, you can turn it up to the insane mode, where you don't have time to focus on anything but how quickly you need to move and what you need to press. So I like that variety, so you can almost feel a kind of adrenaline playing the higher mode, but also, again, like I said, appreciating that really nice art style with the normal mode.
Yeah, and it's more accessible. I wanted kids to be able to finish a game. When I was a kid, I was never able to finish any of my games. Was it Lion King was the worst? I never finished that. Mickey's Illusion House, Illusion Castle of Illusions. And I always felt so bad for never being able to finish those. So I wanted to make something like younger me could definitely get through.
Oh my gosh.
JB is now, you should see how much he is smiling, because there is a story with that Mickey Mouse game and JB when he was little. It was the first game he'd ever had, and he used to sneak up during the night to try and complete it, and his parents found out, so they made up a story that he'd burnt a hole in his game console, and the entire console got taken away because of how amazing that game was.
Oh, that just brought back memories. But no, about Never Yield, that's another thing that I kind of wanted to touch upon, is it's pretty much, I guess, ageless. You know, it doesn't really have a definitive audience. Like, I can see someone that's a bit younger picking it up saying, oh, this is like, you know, a nicer looking, more complex temple run. And from my perspective, I guess, at my age, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is reminding me of the type of art style of Into the Spider-Verse, and it's almost like I'm doing that. And again, it's like a kind of art style for someone that's a bit older, maybe.
Do you think it's been dealt with really nicely and almost delicately, in that, like you said, it can be played by anybody of any age? For example, if anything kind of occurs, if you bump into anything, there's not kind of any scenes that would make it kind of detrimental to children to see that kind of thing. It's just dealt with really nicely, that it cuts away. And because some games just add that in, and it kind of limits their audience, that if you run into kind of one of the obstacles or anything, it kind of takes a more mature stance. But it is really nice how it's amenable for everybody to play.
Yeah, originally that played much more of a role. Like if you ran into a saw blade, you know, blood splatters everywhere. But I toned it down just a little bit because I wanted to be, you know, available for everybody. And that was literally the only thing holding it back from being available to more people. So I just toned it down a little bit, and everything worked out.
I really appreciate how inclusive this game is for everybody. It is incredible. It really is.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I guess going to that, the reason why we found out about the game was that, I guess, that Nintendo Direct. So on Twitter, we kind of got a bit more of a Nintendo-centric question, and that is, what was your favourite Nintendo console growing up? And for that console, what were your top 3 favourite games?
I didn't have many consoles growing up. I had a Game Boy, which the only game I had was Pokemon Gold. And then later we got a GameCube, which we had a few more games on. I think Star Fox Adventures was like the first like kind of role-playing game that I ever finished to completion, but I also had that little cheat book because I was a little kid. I didn't know how to like figure out a lot of those puzzles. So like I would just go through the book and be like, how do I finish this puzzle? What do I need to do here? And it was like really amazing. And it's like the most time I ever spent on like one story of a game. So I would say the GameCube with, you know, of course, Smash, Animal Crossing, and probably Star Fox Adventures.
That is absolutely incredible. And another one from Twitter, and I believe that you answered this one, so it may be quite an easy question to answer. But it is, someone asked what your favourite part was about developing the game.
Oh yeah, I don't even actually remember how I answered that question. But I think it was there was this dad who commented on one of the Nintendo posts about him playing with his kid. And you know, helping this kid through the demo, and how much he enjoyed it. And I really like that comment. So that was, you know, one of the things that was my favorite experience working on this game. But I don't actually remember what I said to the person who asked that.
No. I think the one that is here is pretty much, I guess, from what I can see, the best part was finishing the first level because it took months, and you had 2 part-time jobs at the time, so that the only time you had to work on it was quite late at night or before work, so it felt very good to finish something.
Yeah. That as well. When I finished that first level, I felt really good about it, and you know, that was before I took it to the showcase and had little kids play it and like rip it apart. But I was proud of myself. So that was a really good part of the development.
I mean, that's certainly a lot to be proud of. And I'm just so happy that you have agreed to be here today, because just one of the answers that you gave there, I think, very much kind of shows some real, like, key principles and foundations that we really appreciate. Like you were saying, how much it meant to hear that somebody was playing with this with their child, and that was kind of a really nice experience for them. I know that we kind of, I don't know, we try and kind of help people out as much as we can with other games that they're playing. So for example, you know, we kind of gifted this girl a main character from a game and all this kind of thing. It's just so nice, that moments, to know that, like, there is, just to see an individual that's really appreciating something that's been done. And like you've made this game that inclusive, that I do think that it is really nice, almost bonding, that they could play together, because, you know, the child might be on the normal level and then kind of, you know, challenging the parent to try and take it a level up and that kind of thing. I think it's just really nice from so many angles how you've created this game.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
So I guess kind of going back to that, now when the game does eventually release, what's the one bit of feedback that you are really, really hoping to receive, you know, post-launch?
I really want to know how people feel about the last level, because it took a lot of time to do the very last level, because there's a mechanic in there that I don't think has ever been in a runner type of game. So and that combined with the music, the last level took months, because the music has to match the level exactly for that level to work, and the new mechanic that we did for that level was a real experiment, and everyone who actually seen it really enjoys it, and it will really inspire, you know, what will come next with this kind of game, and I see a lot of people copying what I did with that, so I can't wait to see how people react to that, and the last cutscene of the game, to see if people can actually figure out what's going on.
I really want to be able to play this game now. I'm like sat here trying to calculate how many days it is till it comes out. I think it's just maybe about 3.5 weeks till we get to see what that mechanic in the story is.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that day too. I'm gonna sit on Twitter with, you know, some candy and just hop in everyone's Twitch and just kind of watch what happens.
Oh, yeah, that is just going to be so fun. And again, we complimented the music quite a lot beforehand, but hearing you talk about the last level, like it's an integral part, it seems very cinematic. Like, I think they released on Twitter, it was either The Man Who Outrun Time or Land of the Rising Moon. I think it was Land of the Rising Moon, but just listening to that on repeat has just been so much fun. I just can't wait. And if, like, the eventual transition to limited run games does happen, like, I pre-ordered the Scott Pilgrim one, and in that one you were either given the option to order the game's soundtrack on vinyl or cassette. I think that would be so much fun as well. Like, just driving along to some of those tunes would be amazing.
It would.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm still working on soundtrack stuff, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Again, it really depends on, you know, the fans and how much people actually enjoy the game, because, you know, a lot of times there's like small hype around like a game or an idea, but the support isn't there, you know, online and behind the scenes. So like I very much think everyone's just kind of waiting to see what actually happens in the reaction before any like decisions like that are made. But I'm hoping just as much as everybody else said it comes out, because I want a limited run copy of this as well.
Yeah, I'd imagine that. What an achievement, having like a physical copy of the game.
Yeah, just like when you sat there creating your next game, just to be able to look over at that and be like, I did it and I can do this again, and that's like the start of the next one. That'd be incredible.
I'm gonna write a little note on it and send it straight to Nintendo and put it in Smash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag Wally for Smash. Oh, that's going to be incredible. So thank you so much for agreeing to come onto the show today, because it really does mean a lot. And again, I cannot compliment how personal this whole experience has been. Ever since seeing, your actual face there in the direct, to, finding your Twitter account, like, it's just been such a great experience. And I just think it's amazing that, a game developer has been so open with how much of a personal mark they've left on this game. And it really is amazing to see.
Thanks so much for having me. We'll have to do this again after you all played the game, and we can talk about it more. And I would love to hear your theories and such. I'm not going to tell you what actually is going on. I want to hear everybody else's theories and see if anybody actually figures it out.
Ooh, yeah, we really do need to crack that. We're both gonna, when we play the game, we are gonna work on our theories so much. And if we're right, that's just gonna be awesome. So I guess the people listening, is there any kind of last thing that you want to tell them about the game, or tease about the game, or even if it's just a case of telling everyone where they can find you on the internet?
Yeah, so the demo is out. I don't know when this is gonna go up. It might be pulled down by then, or released. But if the demo's still up, please try the game out. If runners aren't your thing, I would say, just try out the demo. No pressure. There are so many indie games out there that, if my game isn't, up your alley, then, hey, more power to you. I appreciate you giving it a shot. But keep giving indie games a chance, because we out here putting games out when other people aren't, and a lot of time goes into these games, and a lot of effort, and it's pretty much all we got sometimes. So keep playing, enjoy it, and you can find me on Twitter at Ariel_Knight. I'm always on there. I try to reply to everybody. People send me messages. I just say, hey, what's up? Answer questions or anything like that. So yeah, I'm always around, and I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the support so much. And if you like the game, talk about it. Buy it if you are able to. And thank you so much.
Okay guys, so please don't forget that on the 12th of May, this game will be available on the eStore. Please download
19th.
that.
19th.
Oh, sorry, the 19th. I read that wrong. The 19th of May, so please check that out. We will be making sure to download that and speculate as soon as we can, because from what we've seen, there is some amazing things to look into, and we think you guys would really enjoy it too. So again, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the podcast today, and to everybody that's listened. So please go and check out that game, and remember to like, comment and subscribe.
JB and Millie.